They told us it was for the good of the public. We know now that that wasn't it.
Indian removal is one of these horrible euphemisms for ethnic cleansing, to try to eradicate people and move them to someplace else. You don't kill them all, but you do get rid of them.
We were an ancient people in a modern world in the eyes of the people who were trying to get us out of the way.
Soon the rising waters of the Allegheny River, impounded by earth and concrete, will attend the birth of a major lake and toll the death knell for a valley.
Can you point fingers at who betrayed us? We'd have to have 1,000 hands to point at the ones who betrayed us.
I don't know who to be angry at, because it wasn't an individual that hurt me. It was a government.
The story of Kinzua Dam and the Seneca Nation of Indians began in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at the intersection of three rivers, where the Allegheny and Monongahela merge and form the Ohio. In the early 20th century, the rivers would help make Pittsburgh a great American industrial power, earning it the unsavory title of Hell with the Lid Off. And the same rivers that helped create the city also threatened its very existence, as floodwaters plagued the region. Pittsburgh looked to Congress and the federal government for help, but like other flood-prone cities, was told flooding was a problem for state and regional government to handle. The events of St. Patrick's Day, 1936, would change that stance.
America is suffering its major flood disaster. These first and complete pictures, made by Universal cameramen at the risk of their lives, show the devastation of the flood. The catastrophe that struck at Pittsburgh has caused unbelievable damage. $25 million damage here alone. Pittsburgh's a city of desolation.
And it wasn't just Pittsburgh that was underwater. Heavy rains and rapid snowmelt had created a weather nightmare for the entire eastern seaboard. Floodwaters were about to take a message to the steps of Congress.
Early on March 18th, a definite stage forecast of 19 feet was issued from Washington, D.C. The crest to occur on the afternoon of March 19th. Meanwhile, emergency labor, including CCC boys and others, under the direction of Army engineers, worked night and day building a dike of sandbags, designed specifically to protect the government buildings on the mall from the flood.
You had Pittsburgh, the industrial center of the United States, under 16 feet of water. You had the Potomac River starting to lap up around the Washington Memorial. And so Congress could literally look out the window and they could see the effect of flood there in the United States. And so with cities lobbying for flood control, combined with the need to put a lot of people to work during the Great Depression, you had all of the ingredients for a very, very massive scale federal investment in flood control.
The flood of 1936 would put the federal government and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers into the flood control business and set in motion aggressive plans for a series of dams and reservoirs for the protection of Pittsburgh and the Ohio Valley. The largest would require the federal government to take more than 10,000 acres of the Seneca Indians' treaty-protected lands.
The lands to be flooded are the Allegheny Valley in northwestern Pennsylvania and 2/3 of the usable portion of the Seneca Reservation in southwestern New York. The flooding will be caused by the erection of a dam on the Allegheny River near Warren, and this dam will be constructed to protect the Pittsburgh area from floods.
The dam would be called Kinzua, a word that the elders had used to describe a good place to fish. And it would threaten the lands that for generations had sustained their traditional way of life.
That's who we are, right there. The river, the land, the way of life. I have always called the Allegheny River the bloodline of our people.